Hey everyone, it's Caslo and welcome back to my channel. It's time for the next segment of my RPG Club playthrough of the detective RPG, Disco Elysium. But before we get started, what is the RPG Club? I've been an avid listener of the podcast The RPG Years, and its predecessor podcast The RPG Golden Years, and RPG The After Years. The podcast focuses on RPG reviews and news. They regularly do a community event known as the RPG Club. Imagine a book club, but for RPGs. They break up a community-chosen RPG into digestible chunks, usually about 5 hours, and discuss those segments every 2 weeks like a book club. If you want to check out the RPG Years, you can find a link in the description below. So last time we explored the coastal area across the canal before really hunting down Ruby. We track Ruby to an old rundown building on the coast with no visible entry. Instead, we have to climb a rackety old ladder and enter from the roof. Or, if you're me, teleport to the roof with the power of your mind.
You know, for the record, you didn't teleport there. You just climbed the ladder with your eyes closed.
Inside, Ruby catches us off guard in a sound machine that scrambles our brains, all during which Ruby is claiming her innocence. Eventually, we fight through the pain and knock the machine down, right before Ruby takes her own life instead of being captured. Returning to the Whirling in Rags, we find the victim's fellow mercenaries in a standoff with the Hardy Boys. We try to defuse the situation and talk the mercenaries down, explaining that the Hardy Boys are not responsible for the murder. This doesn't work, and Elizabeth, the Gardner Union lawyer, gets shot. Then one of the mercenaries shoots us as we can't react quickly enough. As we're on the ground, speaking with Kim, another mercenary comes up behind Kim and shoots him before we can warn him. We wake up later in our cleaned up hotel room with Kuno, learning that Kim had been injured and taken back to the precinct. Kuno then volunteers to assist us with wrapping up the murder investigation. Returning to Klashki's room, she's long gone, but she has left a clue pointing us to an old island sea fortress off the coast. Being our only lead, we secure a boat from the fishing village and head out for the island. Inside the fortress, we find a disheveled bed, and Kuno convinces us to take a nap to regain our energy. While napping, we enter into a dream version of the fortress, before we walk out onto the surrounding waters to find the goddess Dolores Day, who we have some connection to. We work out that Dolores represents our own ex. Can't remember if it was girlfriend, wife, who had left us, and we have to accept her leaving. Awaking, we continue our investigation, but are blocked by a mechanically locked blast door. This leads us to a nearby bunker, where we find some fuel to power the machine to unlock the door. But we also discover another vantage point to Klashki's window. Unlocking the blast door, we find an old man named Dros, sitting by a campfire with a rifle. The man was an old soldier from the long-past Civil War. He had remained hidden from society following the war, hopping from island to island, before settling in on the fortress. He eventually became fascinated with Klashki, spying on her from her bunker, before eventually sneaking into the Whirling in Rags to peep on her. This led him to becoming jealous of the victim and shooting him. As we talk with Dros, we begin to sense a strange presence before we're confronted by a stick bug cryptid. Cryptid reveals he's been feasting off the essence of Dros, which led to Dros's long life and shattered psyche. Leaving Dros on the island to retrieve later, we return to the mainland with Kuno. As we arrive, however, we're confronted with our previous police unit, who had been following us throughout the game. The unit conducts a trial to determine if we're still fit to be a police detective. Overcoming the trial, we also convince the group to let Juno join the force as a junior detective. And that's it for Disco Elysium. So, Disco Elysium is over. And I wish I finished the side quest to get my gun. I think that would have made it a lot nicer for the confrontation with the tribunal. Instead, I think I got one of the worst endings, with everyone getting shot. It was so bad I actually expected a game over at that point. Luckily it wasn't, and I got to move on to a letdown of an ending. While I found it hilarious that Kuno was my partner for the ending island portion, it was a little sad that the murderer was just some old man who had been island hopping since the war to avoid capture, and not somebody we had encountered early on. And the entire reason for the murder was that old man was hot for Klashki, someone he never even met. At least we got to follow all that up with meeting an actual cryptid, and the hilarity of Kuno joining the detective academy. With that said, I'm ready for something else, as it felt only a handful of us actually participated in this RPG club, and I'd like to see a big crowd again. So let's get ready for the next game. But that's it for the Disco Elysium RPG Club. To follow along with the next club, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see new videos when they're posted. Additionally, if you want to check me out elsewhere, I have links to my Twitch, Twitter, and Discord in the description below. See you all next time.